मेरे पास। तुम्हें शायद याद होगा, और मुझे तो याद है ही। तुम्हारी उमंग, तुम्हारा उत्साह, तुम्हारा वो हल्का सा डर, और सबसे ज्यादा तुम्हारा वो सपना, एक बुलंदी को पाने का सपना, एक भीड़ में अलग पहचान का सपना, कुछ कर दिखाने का, एक आदमी बनने का सपना, बालपन और जवानी के उस नाजुक मोड़ पर तुम्हारा वो सपना ही तुम्हारा यथार्थ था। याद करो वो बीते पल, याद करो वो रैगिंग का डर।
हमारी शाखा 35 अभियंत्रण की है।
हाँ सर, डांस करना जानते हैं? स्टार्ट। 58 58 58 58 58 58 58 घूम जाओ। चल यार, तुम लोग बोर कर रहे हो बार बार। मुर्गा बनो। ओके फ्रेंड्स, सही है। माय नेम इज पंकज। सिर्फ मिलने आओगे ना? पर्सनल चापो टू मच यार।
याद करो वो क्लास, वो प्रैक्टिकल्स, वो ट्यूटोरियल्स का बंक करना, वो यूनिवर्सिटी कैंटीन, वो मेस में एक संग खाना, वो याराना, याद करो वो भवन की कैंटीन,
मगर तुम ना आए, जला फिर मेरा दिल, करूं क्या लम्हाए, चांद फिर निकला।
वो क्लब की मौज मस्ती, वो नहर का शांत किनारा, वो डिपार्टमेंट्स और हॉस्टल्स, वो सिविल लाइंस की सैर, वो रात में भाटिया जी की चाय,
आज आया सवेरे सवेरे के दिल को उठा सवेरे सवेरे। भले तेज कितना हवा का हो झोंका, मगर अपने मन में तू रख ये भरोसा, मगर अपने मन में तू रख ये भरोसा, जो बिछड़े सफर।
मुझे तो वो सब याद है। तुम्हारी आवाज मेरे कानों में आज भी गूंजती है। तुम्हारा हर कदम, हर परछाई, तुम्हारी हर भावना मुझे याद है। समय के इस मध्यांतर में क्या तुम्हारी याद तो धुंधली नहीं हो गई? क्या नई उमंगों ने बीते सपनों को तो नहीं मिटा दिया? क्या नए रिश्तों ने पुराने बंधन को कमजोर तो नहीं कर दिया? क्या तुम्हें अपना वो कर्ज याद है कि नहीं? क्या तुम्हें ये एहसास है कि तुम्हारा सपना तो पूरा हुआ, तुम्हारा कर्ज अब भी बाकी है? क्या तुम्हें ये याद है कि तुम्हें एक कर्ज चुकाना है? हाँ, एक कर्ज चुकाना है।
We'll be playing Kulgeet Nav.
जयति जयति विद्या संस्थान, जयति जयति विद्या संस्थान। हिमगिरि शृंगों से अभिनंदित, गंगा जल करते कलदान। जयति जयति विद्या संस्थान, जयति जयति विद्या संस्थान। शिक्षा आदर्शों में उन्नत, जीवन शिल्पी भूरचनारत। शिक्षा आदर्शों में उन्नत, जीवन शिल्पी भूरचनारत। श्रमं विना न किमपि साध्यं व्रत, यंत्रकला कौशल अभियान। जयति जयति विद्या संस्थान, जयति जयति विद्या संस्थान। जन जीवन प्रासाद उठाकर, सेतु बांध भूखंड जुड़ाकर। जन जीवन प्रासाद उठाकर, सेतु बांध भूखंड जुड़ाकर। अंतरिक्ष में यान उड़ाकर, नवयुग को देता आह्वान। जयति जयति विद्या संस्थान, जयति जयति विद्या संस्थान। हिमगिरि शृंगों से अभिनंदित, गंगा जल करते कलगान। जयति जयति विद्या संस्थान, जयति जयति विद्या संस्थान। जयति जयति विद्या संस्थान, जयति जयति विद्या संस्थान।
Good morning, all. My name is Maithili, and I'm from Microsoft. I work with Rajiv. I would be getting Rajiv live in a few seconds. So I just wanted to introduce you all to Rajiv, who doesn't need an introduction, who is your IIT Roorkee alumni. So just for the interest or for the information for all, I thought I'll just introduce Rajiv, a brief intro. Rajiv is the MD of Microsoft India Development Center and CVP of Microsoft's Experience and Devices India. Uh, ELST India works on delivering a range of Microsoft Office productivity solutions for desktop, mobile, and web. Rajiv's most recent accomplishment is the incubation and worldwide launch of Kaizala from India. And Rajiv worked for the first 12 years of his career in Redmond, USA, and later 15 years at IDC, from being a distributed center focused on execution excellence to innovation center that delivers Microsoft Office products globally. And he holds a bachelor degree in computer science from IIT Roorkee from your own institute, and a master's in computer science from University of Texas. Obtained BE Civil from University of Roorkee, and it's completely a great honor and privilege to introduce Rajiv to you all. And I'm handing it over to Rajiv. Rajiv, over to you.
Great. Okay. Thanks. Mathli, can you hear me?
Yes, Rajiv.
Okay. I thought Ashal sir and Vishnu Khan sir was going to do a quick kickoff, but I guess that is not set up right now. So should I go ahead?
Yes, Rajiv.
All right. So can you upload the deck? So hello, my friends and colleagues and my student suffers from Roorkee. It is a privilege to be here and to talk to you. Roorkee together every once in a while, every month, every quarter. So this is the first kickoff of that series. So what I've done is I basically picked a deck or a content that that I have used for new hires in Microsoft, because I asked, like, what should I talk about, and two or three things came up. One was my career learnings since I joined Microsoft, or since I left Roorkee, my personal learnings in life, and also the technology future. And that itself, each of these could be an hour talk, but I'm trying to condense that and share that journey. I know there's no difference between what you have gone through, what I have gone through. Many of these things might seem very simple, very obvious. There's no rocket science here, but I just wanted to, this is more of my own journey. What happened after left Roorkee and what are the learnings in the company. Actually, I've been fortunate to work with the three Bill Gates, because when I joined Microsoft, it was a startup, then Steve Ballmer, then Satya. I had the fortunate to work for him for almost 5 years. So there's a lot of learnings I've had. So I thought I'd just share that. And in addition to that, my life learning that brought me back to India. All right. So, but I'll tell you one thing. Don't worry about the prepared content. I really want to make this an experience that is relevant to each one. So please go ahead and ask. I have the phone here. I can see all the questions. I would love to answer the questions more than tell you what I think I should tell you. But so two things I'll say. The journey, the way I've captured the journey is along the way, like when I joined Microsoft till now. So many of the early learnings are for early in career. So people who are recent graduate, it will be very relevant to you all. Many of the life learnings is for probably everyone, But again, this is not a Gyan session. This is not, I'm not trying to preach. I'm just trying to share what I have learned that I am practicing myself. So with that background, I'll just quickly get hold of this control of this deck. I just to give you the background, graduated in 1990, went to University of Texas at Austin to do my PhD. I studied there for 2 years. I was trying to do PhD there, and then both my thesis coordinator or my guides left for industry, and then I decided to leave my PhD and okay, let me see if I can get my control. Did you give me the control?
Control is with you, Rajiv.
No, it says not accepted. So let me ask again. Oh, it is there. Okay, wait.
Yes.
Wait. Sorry, folks, I'm having difficulty trying to get control of the deck. So excuse me. See if you can move it, Maithili.
Rajiv, I'll present it. You please concentrate on your screen.
All right, it did not move. Yeah. Okay, I can see it now. I have control now. Okay. So as I said, this is the journey of my continuous learning. That's how I would say it. My life has been just a journey of learning since I left the university. One of the things I say is that my real learning started after the studies ended, actually. So this is one slide, my whole life, from a very small place in Jharkhand, Sahibganj. Oh, where did that go? Yeah. Maithili, I can control it now. Yeah. So basically, from Jharkhand, went to IIT Roorkee, joined Austin, Texas for my PhD, joined Microsoft in '92 because both my guide left, and then I decided I don't want to do another PhD restart, so I left for Microsoft. And then I moved back to India in 2003, but really moved in 2005 because 2003 to 2005 I was doing both the. I've been in India. Now I lead all of India Development Center with ownership of all the productivity platform. At the below you'll see my hobbies and my likings. One of the reasons to come back to India was self-actualization, or we got into meditation. Continuing to learn, I started learning tabla because I wanted to play on bhajans, travel around the world, about more than 55 countries, 6 continents. Then only one left is the Antarctica. And then on the bottom right is my family, 2 daughters on the extreme right and left, and 1 wife in the middle. She's also from Roorkee, by the way. She was my classmate, Rekha Singhal. So that's my little family. Both the girls have grown up. One is working, one is doing final year in CMC as a doctor, doing her internship, and my elder daughter is back at home working in Microsoft in Redmond. So I've reached that stage where I need to worry about their marriages now, which is kind of a big transition as a dad of 2 girls. So I want to, as I said, I'll talk about my career learnings, my personal learnings, and then I do the overview of knowledge, technology. Days, it will not go anywhere, and I'll tell you I had two jobs, and that's why I was confused. One job was Schlumberger, the oil company, and Microsoft gave 9,000. Microsoft was to give me $29,000, almost half of what I was making Schlumberger. But I remember very confused because there's a lot of money difference. And one of my friends from IIT Chennai, Sudhir Koneru, he said, Rajiv, are you nuts? Like, hey, this is the place to do real computer science work in Microsoft. What will you do in this Schlumberger, which is the oil rigging company? I think we went too far. Wow. Matthew, are you changing or what?
No, Rajiv, I'm not doing anything with the deck, Rajiv.
Okay, so maybe you should change it. Stop it and you change it.
Okay, Rajiv.
Well,
I will run the PPT.
Okay. So anyway, so I just wanted to talk about my first day experience. I remember joining Microsoft, and this just stay here. Dennis Kennedy, my hiring manager, he was in that go back one. Yeah. I remember he taking me around. At that time, Microsoft was a very small company, 4,000 people, 1,000 engineers. We have more. I have twice the number of engineers in India now than when I joined Microsoft. I remember he taking me around to meet all the people in the Visual Basic team. I was going to be in the compiler team. And I met all these people with PhDs in computer compiler. I met Tim Patterson, who was the guy who wrote DOS operating system and sold it to Bill Gates in 1975 for $50,000. And I met all these people, and I remember like thinking, who am I to work here? I just happened to be from Roorkee. I just got lucky to get into Austin, Texas, got lucky to get into Microsoft, and I was kind of scared. And he saw that on my face, and at the end of that tour, he came to me and said, look, Rajiv, you know, everybody is very smart. And I'm saying, yes, of course, everybody is smart. Like, are you kidding me? Like, and he then said something that changed my life. He said, but I'll tell you, you may be smart, but everybody is smart here. And of course, there are world-class people. There's Bill Gates, there is Tim Patterson, Dennis Kennedy himself. They're all PhDs, and they're like world-class people. And I'm from a small village, just happened to land in Microsoft. There were only about 10, 12 Indians at that time in the whole company. And he said, look, Rajiv, I'll tell you the trick to success. Everybody is smart, but the way to differentiate yourself is hard work. And I'll tell you, that was an aha for me. It just transformed my life, because for survival, I worked like crazy, like probably 16 hours a day for a couple of years. And that really was an amazing learning, the first learning of my after school. And of course, since then, I've learned a lot. It's not about hard work, number of hours. It's really about purpose, self-driven, being persistent, going deep, and really knowing what you're doing and having an impact. Just because you see the purpose, not for money, not for fame, but just the purpose of helping others. So I think that is my first learning on the first day of work. The second person I've met was Tim Patterson. He is the person who sold DOS that changed the history of Microsoft. I remember working with him. The whole compiler team was only 5-7 people, and I was doing all the compiler runtime setup, like creating the vtable and instruction pointers and things like that. And I remember in 94 or 95, there was a bug in the Pentium chip. And Tim Patterson, like world-renowned engineer, comes to me and says, Rajiv, I read this is the bug, and this is how to fix it, and this is how we can actually make it very efficient. And here was this. It's just amazing for me, who I thought, hey, I've achieved coming to Microsoft. Here is a world-class engineer still continuing to learn. He's still trying to figure out how to write the best code, how to improve the technical efficiency of the code. And I think it was just like, for me, it was a very humble experience. And since then, again, I've learned to learn, actually, learn from your failures, learn from and do your best job of whatever you're given, and you have to just do your best. You don't have to uh, try to compete with others. You have to compete with yourself is the other thing I talk about. So anyway, so that was my first year experience, in the first 1 or 2 years experience. I'll just get into the three CEO talk in a minute, but before I go there, one other person I have a lot of respect is Kurt Dilbeni. He's the EVP, direct report of Satya, who does Microsoft strategy. I worked for him for 5 years, and he's like from CMU, McKinsey, Microsoft for 30 years, and it's just amazing how things we are not taught at work and in college, it really becomes more critical. From him, I learned accountability. I learned to do the right thing. One of the things he used to tell me is that whenever there were confusion, he would say, Rajiv, so what is the right thing to do? And that simple question just changed my life. Because a lot of time we have like easy way, hard way, and the right way. And the right way might be the hardest, but if you start working on the right way, the world, the universe comes to change to help you succeed actually. He taught me to be on time. I've worked for him for 5 years. Every day night when I used to work for him from India, 8:30 was the call, the bell would ring, like my phone would ring at 8:30, not a minute late. And that just shows how these little things goes a long ways to make people successful. He could be a CEO. He's the one who worked with Obama to do the medical care, Medicare, like that Medicare website used to be in the Obama's cabinet. So I've learned from him. Now coming to the three CEOs, of course, I was lucky to work with Bill Gates because it was a startup that time. Going to his review, it was always a scary experience. He would shout at us because we were not doing a good job. Even now he does a review. I had a meeting with him just last month or 2 weeks back, and he continues to guide us. And he is just a phenomenal, true global scale leader who thinks about global scale impact. I'll tell you, yeah, I'm most impressed with his foundation work in the last 7 to 10 years, more than technology. And it just shows how he brings his big thinking, not only to technology problem, but also to the world hunger problem or world disease problem or death problem. I remember talking to him the day he was retiring or leaving Microsoft, and I asked him, so what will you do in this foundation? And he did not talk about I have lots of money and I'm going to distribute money. He talked about how like the fatality of the kids is based on the 4 disease, which is not in the developed world. And so he'd done all this research. Renowned compiler person called, his name was John Hamby. Somebody is interrupting. And Sue was going on a vacation. And so John Hamby said, hey, she's going on vacation. The 2 weeks of work that she's going to work on, I'm going to finish that piece of work. So on Friday, I told her, look, John is going to go finish your work and you should go on vacation, come back happy, enjoy. She said, no, Rajiv, I don't want anybody to touch my code. Please don't let him do this, and I will come back and finish it. I did not pay attention, and she left, and John Hamby changed the code and rewrote many of the things and completed the work. 3 weeks later, when she comes back, my job, this is my pride of craft. And so I will enjoy. Then I should tell Sue that look, the code has to stay. Or if my code was worry about the date, then I will make her upset. We have enough time. I just did not know what the clarity of the goal. I don't know what happens. And we are there decision. Like I remember when I say this, or you today is the Shara Eid, and we grow up at 24. Parents say, "Adi kar lo," to marry. In contrast, if I look at my kids growing up in US, they were told to make decisions every day in the class, like bring your favorite toy. They have to decide which is my favorite. Talk about favorite show and tell, so they learn how to tell and make decisions. So anyway, so that's my big learning from Bill Gates, is to make good decisions. Moving on, I wanted to talk about Steve Jobs, Steve Ballmer. Madly, the deck went away. Steve Ballmer was an interesting character. I'll tell you, like he is like high energy person. If he's in a hall, the whole hall will be full of his presence. And one thing I learned from is to have that presence and networking, being able to connect with different people and build relationships, whether it's business or personal. So can we go and present the Steve Ballmer one, slide 10, please? So I'll tell you, like senior leader, like not but second level. One of my big challenge was that people actually, and so I had to really work on presence. I remember Kavi helped me get these consultants, how to speak well, how to dress up well, how to sit right, how to make eye contact. It is really a learned experience, and you have how do you come across? Because when you don't come across as confident, I'll give you one example. As an Indian kid, we are said nazar niche karke baat karo, right? But if you look down and talk, people think two things: either you're looking down on them, you don't respect them, or you don't have the confidence to talk. You have to do eye contact. It took me a while to have the eye contact, for example. That's just part of having a presence. The last thing from him, I'll say, is the networking. We never taught to network, and in US and developed countries, people do go to bar or play golf. Those are all creating relatedness, ennobling others, or like enrolling others to help you. So anyway, so he was very good at making that personal connection. So that's the other thing I learned from him. The last one is Satya. Can you connect to the next one? Go to the next one. Satya is probably the best manager I have worked for. He's probably the best leader I have seen in my life. and I just was very fortunate to be able to work for him for almost 5 years. I came to India because he wanted to start the office team first time in India. And I'll tell you, if you ask me what is that one thing that differentiates Satya, they go together. One is creating clarity in your mind of what the vision is, and then being able to communicate with precision. And that is again something we are never taught in either in school or college. Communication is probably the biggest differentiator between a super successful person and not so successful person. If there's one thing, it's communication. Um, uh, and he's just mastered at it. I remember going out for a dinner once in San Diego with him after some conference, and I asked him, like, Satya, how do you communicate so clearly? Like, what is it? And he gave me a very interesting answer, and that really stays with me today. He said it's all about flowchart. I said, what do you mean flowchart? I said, yeah. He said, look, just like you write code and you say if then else, and you have a flow of how the program works. Communication is the same. I start something I know. Yeah. Are you telling me something? My audio is low. Hello, can you hear me? Maitli, can you hear me?
We were losing you in between, Rajiv. Your network issue was there, so just wanted to.
Okay. Okay, got it. Okay. So anyway, so that's Satya. Let's go back. So then I'm going to do. Can you go back to the presentation mode? Hopefully you have any. I will stop here because these are my learnings from the leaders I've worked. I think next 3 slides is about things that I've learned from myself and what are my top 3 learnings. I will stop here and see if there is any questions. Vishnukant or Achal sir or Maitli, if you have any questions that is there on the, I would answer it here, or I'll finish the personal learning and then take questions.
We have a few questions, Rajiv. With your permission, I would like to read them out.
Is this related to this part or? Yeah, please.
Yeah, there are a few technology questions and few other questions.
Okay. Okay, so what I'll do is let me just finish. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you, Rajiv.
Okay, so the next section is a short section. My own personal learning and the things that brought me back to India for a decade. Let me see if I can. Can you go back? Is this the first one? Yeah. Okay, go next. So I'll just talk about 3 personal learnings. So like the first one is work-life balance, or really work-life harmony. Go to the next slide, please. If you look at this is how I lay out the life like for most of us adults. When we are 22-year-old, we are trying to graduate from college. For example, when I go to IIT Delhi for recruiting every year on 1st of December, what is the first thing they say? Go to the next slide. The first thing they will say is how much money is Microsoft giving compared to Facebook or Google or other companies. The second they will ask is what is the work, and I'll decide on work. The third thing is about family. Once you have money and job, you spend time with your family and life is great. And then self-actualization, which is parents say, hey, do some puja or do meditation or do some charity like Bill Gates, and that is the priority order when you're young. And somewhere in the middle of my life, when I was right before I left US, I was deciding what do I really need in life? Like what do my parents, like who's 84, what is the number one thing he cares about? None of this actually. What he cares about is really like first.
We are losing your voice, Rajiv.
Mathli. Next slide, please. Yeah. So anyways, so what I want to say is that if you look at my parents, my dad and mom, for them, health is number one. Then if they are in samadhi or they have fully realized their life, that is the high priority. Then they worry about family and friends. See, money on deathbed is the last priority. Nobody cares about money. And even work, they care of bottom of the stack when at the end of my life. And so it has, and it's not that it reverses in the middle of the life, it changes over time. Like when I'm in 40s and I have kids who are in college going kids, the family is most important. Health is always important. Then then money, then so anyway, so my point, what happens, and we have to remember that it is changing and be aware that what is your priority at any given time. For example, it doesn't change overnight. And I'll tell you like one axiom out of that is the derivative of this theory, little theory, is that midlife crisis can be defined over here. When people get to 40 years and family and material things, what do? They buy new cars, new spouse, and they just don't realize that things have changed. You will never get satisfaction by prioritizing the life the same way. Things are changing, and you have to change with the time so that you are happy and satisfied with new part of your life or new yourself. So anyway, so that's my little philosophy in life, that things change and we have to change. Health is number one. You have to pay attention to health, because health is one thing. Once it's lost, never comes back. Money and work will come back. Relationship and health will never come back if you break them. And so that's my little thinking. Let's go to the next slide. Two other things I'll say is that resilience or grit or growth mindset. I will say that all of us, we think, oh, Bill Gates is like so successful, he never failed, or Satya is so successful, he never failed. I've seen lots of people in the world who are super successful. I've met dozens of billionaires. I'll tell you, everybody has had their share of failures. And the best quote that captures that feeling I have is this guy, Michael Jordan, a world-class player, basketball player, a billionaire just because of playing. But look at what he says. I have missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I have lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've trusted to take the game to winning shot and missed it. I've failed over and over and over again in my life. And that's why I succeeded. It is so beautiful. I'll tell you, there is no failure. If you learn something from your failure, it's not a failure. It's a classroom that you got the opportunity to learn from. I remember, like, when I was, Ross Perot was one of the presidential candidates in 92 or 96, and one of his managers lost like $25 million. This manager went to him with his resignation letter saying, "Hey, I know you're going to fire me, so here's my resignation. I'm going to leave." I always talk about this resilience, or the ability, or grit is the better way to say. Grit, by definition, means the ability to fail, get up, learn, and try again. And I have to tell you this story now because I remember. There's a book called Growth Mindset by Angela Duckworth, and this is from Stanford. And they did a research. She did a PhD on who are the people who succeed in life. They tracked hundreds of kids from poor background because they might be hardworking, or rich background because they have all the resources, or those who are intelligent, who are hardworking. They were trying to figure out who are the people who succeed in life. What they found, that none of these qualities matter. Not poor, not rich, not hardworking, not intelligent. The thing that makes people most successful is called grit. And grit is the ability, or that growth mindset, to not take failure as a failure, but learn from it and retry again. So there is a little bit of hard work involved, but it has to be with the mindset, what did I learn? And can I try the same problem, or the problem in a different way and succeed? So this is really about resilience, is about grit. Let's go to the last slide, please. And last, I want to just end the talk by this one. I always, every year or two, I pick one thing I want to work on. I remember about 3-4 years back, I picked being fearless, because a lot of time I realized that I'm held back because I'm fearful of doing something, and I have to work on it. It takes time to be fearless. And this quote actually really captures. 20 years from now, you'll be more disappointed by things that you did not do than the ones you did do. And even if you fail, it doesn't matter. So throw off the balliness and sail away from the safe harbor and catch the trade winds in your sails, and basically get off the harbor. I'll tell you, I developed tricks of not to be fearful. Like, remember, like, you all are in jobs and you write emails, really flame mail almost, and you feel, what will people think? Am I being nasty? Your fear will hold you back. But what I've learned to say to myself is that if I've written something that I really believe in, and it might be disruptive and it may not really sit well with many people, I ask myself this question: if I was fearless, would I still send the mail or not? If the answer is yes, I just send the send button and not worry about the consequences. So anyway, you'll have to develop your own ways of tricks of being fearless, but do what you really believe in, and don't worry, because in the end, if you're trying to do the right thing that I talked earlier, and you are being fearless, and you have the grit to learn from failures, all these things will come together to make you a successful person in job, or even at work, actually at home also. So with that, I'm going to end here my talk and see if there are questions, and then we'll go from here. So Vishnukant and Achal sir and Maithili, please see what questions are there.
There are a few questions, Rajiv.
Yeah.
I would read out. One is from Mr. Shabir Lokandwala. He says that any business innovation vertical which Microsoft is working in the field of construction technology and industry.
Yeah, so that's a good one. So we are actually, of course, we don't have a vertical solution, but we are working with, for example, L&T to develop this construction solution for infrastructure building, actually. And I don't know when it's going to get launched. If you send me mail, I will get you connected with the field people who were working on building this technical solutions for infrastructure or construction work, for example. Where the software will help you figure out the progress. using digital technology of videos, capturing the progress of a building being built, keeping track of all the equipments, whether it's heavy equipments, and based on the usage, you will be able to figure out how much progress is happening, how much construction, how the work is happening, and how to track things. So there is some work. So please send me mail, and I'll connect you with the right people. Okay.
Thank you, Rajiv. There's a COVID-related question.
Yeah.
Due to COVID, is knowledge transferring, like teaching, going to be mostly online after COVID gets over, or
Yeah.
resume how we do it before COVID?
Yeah, no, this is a very good question, and I think it goes back to a very fundamental premise or fundamental change that we will see. COVID, I'll tell you, COVID has really transformed the world. The world was already in a digital transformation phase, and COVID has accelerated in the 3 months in 3 years. So the 3 years of transformation happened in 3 months of the first 3 months of the COVID, and a lot of things will become the new norm. Will be remote everything almost. It will be remote learning, remote healthcare, remote work. A lot of things will go remote, and as Satya talks about, we really are in the response phase. Then we have to recover from this pandemic. Then we have to reimagine. See, world is never going back to normal. It will be a new normal, and in the new normal, remote learning will be a pillar. And I'll tell you one other thing that, and in fact, me and Vishnu Kant were discussing yesterday. I wanted to throw a challenge here about remote learning. I feel there is a big opportunity for startup or some creative sort of people. It could be NGO work to empower every young citizen of this country to really get educated by a high world-class institution without spending any money. See, today if I go to Coursera, you go to IIT Bombay, there's IIT Chennai, I think, they have all made this curriculum public for everybody. And I remember giving a talk in one of the colleges in Ranchi, and I was telling them, look, you don't have to worry about going anywhere. You can be a world-class engineer sitting in your home, in no matter where you sit, even in a village. And I feel very empowered. I feel very excited about this opportunity where people can get classes from MIT and Stanford for free or very small amount of money. So one challenge I'll tell you is that those who are creative and high energy right now and wants to do something new, go figure out how to create curriculums so that people can go become a computer scientist, mechanical engineer, whatever, or social or economists by just you creating an app and I selecting, I want to learn this. And that course takes me a year or two, and I almost have a degree without a physical degree, because nobody cares about degree, to be honest, in the real world. Microsoft will hire anybody who is an awesome engineer. We don't need a degree of computer science from IIT or anywhere, but you have to be smart and you have to be able to write code. So I feel it is absolutely going to be remote learning, a big time. I think the education sector was always ripe for disruption. It's high cost, low ROI. I think it's just too much cost. Of course, there is ROI, but it's so much. It is right to be disrupted, and I think I really would challenge each one of you to think about how to disrupt that. If we disrupt that, we will change. I feel very empowered. I would love to be part of it. If you are actually doing that, happy to talk to you. Hopefully that answers the question.
We have a technology-related question, Rajiv. India seems to be missing all cutting-edge tech like AI, face recognition, IoT. How can Indian demographics be leveraged for that?
Yeah. No, this is a good one. Hey, Vinay, he's my classmate. Awesome, Vinay. Listen, so how about this? It is not true that India is missing it. Actually, a lot of things are happening in the back end, and I think India is representing a new way of doing things. By the way, there is an article just last week came out how there are 4 different internets happening. One is the US way, where They were the leaders. They created internet. Lots of companies like Facebook and Google, Microsoft, Amazon, they leveraged that internet, created e-commerce, search, connect everybody, like that's Facebook vision. That's one internet. The other internet is China. They shut everything out and they created their national internet. And that's why Tencent and Alibaba and ByteDance and TikTok, all those things mushroomed. That's the second internet. The third internet is the European Union, where they are not doing any of this, but they are trying to protect the privacy of the citizens, and they are telling US companies that, hey, these are the ways to play in this. These three models are different models. The first model, which is the US model, there are two beneficiaries. The big companies because they make money, and the government because they make tax, but at the cost of the individual privacy. China, the beneficiary is the government and few government connected businesses. Europe made the citizens successful, but they're not going to have the big companies like Facebook and internet and Google because they are not investing in that. Fourth is India, by the way. India is different than any of these four. And you just saw in the last month how Reliance and Jio is really transforming. That's a different model. So it is not like China that we will shut out the rest of the world. It's not like US that we have all the search, but Reliance really has a strong hold, and they are doing partnerships. So India is a partnership model. In that model, a lot of the technology is coming into India actually. GeoMeet was one of them. Teams from Microsoft is another one. There is a lot of innovations happening in India. A lot of AI work happening in India, Vinay. It's just that it's not surfacing yet. Government does have the technology for face recognition, but they are not using it like China. Like China, it is. I was there like 2 years back, and I remember our our guide. She said, "Give me your passport and passport copy." And why? Oh, because if you ever get lost, I can find out where you are in the last 20 minutes. Because they are tracking every 1.3 billion people in that country. India doesn't have that. I think that's a privacy violation almost. But India has a different one. So people are government is using face recognition to track people. In fact, if you think about the last 2 weeks back when this case happened in UP and how that person was caught was through CCTV and face recognition. Is that India is not really leveraging it like China. The world definitely needs what I call privacy is a human right, and those laws are not built yet. So every country is using it differently, but India does have the technology. Right, so it's just that it's a little behind, but it's leapfrogging the desktop technology and going to more and IoT much quicker than other parts of the world.
Rajiv, one more technology question.
Yeah.
What will be the impact of artificial intelligence in growth of India? It will be hit or boon for millions?
Got it. Okay, so let me do this. This is a good question, and I did create like 3 or 4 slides. Where is the world heading with this technology innovations, and to give you and give a perspective of how the world is going to change as a result of all the technology. Basically, what are the key technology vectors, and how does it impact us? So, can you give me control, or you go to the next slide, please? Yeah, go next. Yeah, technology worldview. What is our worldview? What is my worldview? What is my company's worldview? You know, our mission is to empower every person and every organization on this planet to achieve more. So we do look at the worldview of what are the key trends happening. Let me first tell you one negative trend. Not negative, but something that's coming to an end. Those who are familiar with computer science, there used to be a Moore's law. Moore's law said that every 18 months, the computing will double without the cost doubling, and the cost of power is also going to go down or stay flat. But because of the innovations in the silicon, and because it is so compact already, there is no headroom left for doubling the compute at the same cost. Now, compute is now going to be costly, more and more costly. So that's one end of a era, actually, that's Moore's law era. But what is starting is that there are three big trends you will see. One, I'll call it ubiquitous computing. Second is fully network. Everything will get connected to everything. And car is one example of that. Your bicycle, your radio, TV. My TV doesn't use any of this. It's all connected through internet, right? And the third thing that will happen is pervasive intelligence. Those are the three vectors that is defining defining the technology trend. Now, what the question then is, what are the key vectors of evolution in a world of fully connected, ubiquitous computing and pervasive intelligence? What should we expect? So I'll say, go to the next slide. The first thing we expect is that intelligent cloud and intelligent edge. This is the new paradigm. It's like almost like client server, but client server was a very desktop world, desktop to mainframe or desktop to a server. But in this new world, the ubiquitous computing, this intelligent cloud and intelligent edge is a good example. Is I would say, okay. Before I go there are three things in this new paradigm. One is ubiquitous computing. That means computing will be embedded in everything you can imagine. Every industry is going to get transformed, right, or disrupted. The second is AI. AI is the artificial intelligence. I'll talk about that. And third technology trend is people-centric experiences. So let me just walk through each of these. So go to the next slide. In the ubiquitous computing, we believe our high ambition is that the edge computing connected through 5G, connecting to cloud is the new world order of computing. If you go to the next slide, you will see that what we are doing is, these are all our 57, 58 data centers around the world. These data centers really reaches 90% of the population on this planet actually. And the idea is that anybody can now write a program and make it available to 90% of the population on this planet actually. And we call that Azure the world computer. If you go to the next slide, but it will not only be the big computers on the cloud, but also starts with this in IoT, the end user device, the Azure sphere. So I'll give you two examples here. The example here is like Tesla. Let's say Tesla has a car. It's not really a car, by the way. Vinay Rajda, you are a mechanical engineer. There's no combustion engine there. It's really a computer on the wheel with a big battery that knows how to. It knows that there is a truck, and I know there was an accident because it mistook the white background of the truck to the sky, and then it collided, and the guy got killed. But we are learning, and the point is that these IoT or the edge computing. See, the way the car works is that there is some computing in the car, and then car transmits data to the cloud, and the cloud sends back data to say if there is any device ahead of you. So it is really a distributed intelligence that is helping that car drive itself. So that is the trend that you will see. This is what I call ubiquitous computing. That is computing on the cloud in the back end and computing on the edge, and they talking to each other and making the experience even better. The second trend will be the AI. Today AI is very siloed. It is about, okay, I can tell you how to make this PowerPoint slide better. Like if you are using PowerPoint right now, we have this service called Make This Slide Better, and we just have a lot of data from past, and we have the model built in, and then we can suggest something. But the real innovation will be the change from AI to AGI, artificial intelligence to artificial general intelligence. If you go to the next slide, we invested some money in this company called OpenAI. But if you look at the last 5 years, and I'll get there. What is AI? General intelligence is really about human intelligence. 5 years back, just in 2016, we were hard time trying to recognize an object. What, like, is this a phone or is this a glass of water? That's the innovation. But now, if you look at the last few years, last 2 years, Machine can translate from Hindi to English, English to Hindi to Spanish to the precision of a human being. In fact, I have a demo in Microsoft where we can record your voice in English and we can translate that in Hindi or Spanish and create speech out of the technology in your voice, by the way, your intonations, your style of stop and or animation, and that is just phenomenal. And a lot of this is happening by self-learning, by the way. This is the new technology. Can you go to the next one? And let me just say what we believe in. Today, there is open models called BERT model, which is large with 1.5 different nodes. It takes, just if I take some part of the internet and try to train it, it takes like months of compute time. The data, see, okay, let me step back. To create intelligence, then you need two things. You need data and you need compute to create the model. So far, until last year, we did not have enough data to create human intelligence. But as you know, as you must have heard, every year we are creating more data than the sum total of the previous, all the data that we have ever created in life in the history of mankind. With that kind of new data in the last 2-3 years, we have enough data to create human intelligence. But what we don't have now is compute. We need supercomputers, special computers with multi-$100 million investment, or create a supercomputer, like create a quantum computer that can be 1,000 times more faster than the current computer. Then we can create the intelligence of human being. And we believe that 2023 or by 2025 for sure, we will have human intelligence. So that's the second vector going on. Okay. The third is the third is the people-centric experience. See, so far you have learned the computer to use it. What we really believe is that we have to change to a world that we will not only go from knowing how to use computer, but to natural user interface and UI, but to device independent, instinctual interaction. That means the device, the moment I enter this room, device should know this is Rajiv Kumar, and it locks me into that computer. And then it tells me what my agenda or my meeting is today. So if you go to the next slide, this is my conference room, by the way. This is really, when I walk into that conference room, it knows I am there. It brings up all the meetings that is for me that day, and just for the press of the button, I'm connected and I can start talking. So there is a device involved, there is camera involved, there is a laptop involved, there is a phone involved, there is the hub that you see in the middle. All these devices will interact with themselves and with the human being in the room to know who all are there. And in fact, be able to transcribe. There is a meeting going on. Rajiv said this, Vishnukant said this, Vinay Rajada said this, and that will be that is the future that we are looking at. And it's not future; it's happening today. It's just that we have to democratize that innovation. So anyway, so I'll stop here. Go to the next slide, and those are the key trends. I will end this part of the talk by saying this is Mark Weiser in 1982. He said the most profound technologies are those that disappear. They weave themselves into the fabric of everyday life until they are indistinguishable from itself. And that is our dream, that we embed technology and compute in every fabric of our society, and the people don't need to know that they exist. It just makes everybody's life better. So that's the journey we are in with these three technologies of ubiquitous computing, artificial general intelligence, and human-centered designs. Design is the key now moving forward. It's not technology that will differentiate, but design will differentiate a good product from a bad product. So anyway, so I'll end here and let's go to AMA now. Back. I hope it was useful, folks. Let me know whether you liked it or not, whether it was waste of your time, what you liked, what you do not like. I would appreciate any comment you leave in the window so that I can make my talk better next time. If I come back to IIT alumni meet again. With that view, I would love to get your feedback and comments and suggestions how we can make this better. And I'm sure Achal sir and Vishnukant will appreciate any feedback you give us as to how to improve our community, bring us together, and what kind of talks you would like to hear, whom all we should invite. We would love to hear that also. Okay. With that, Maithili, please coordinate.
Yeah. Rajiv, I have a skill-based question.
Yeah.
What did we take to start the skill-focused hiring instead of degree-focused in Indian MNCs?
Yeah.
We have
No,
seen
this is.
India has already started doing it in US.
Yeah, no, I think this is a good question by whoever asked. Yeah, anonymous. Huh? So this trend is already starting, Bo. See, the question, the thing, if you go back and look, why do we say, oh, we want computer science person or a mechanical engineer? Because you want to eliminate the chaff from the wheat, right? But I'll tell you from Microsoft experience, we are going into like our first interview is all automated. You go to a computer, you write the code, you say, hey, I want to take Microsoft first interview, and we will give you some questions. The machine auto corrects it. That is a great way to filter. I don't need it. I don't need a degree. What I need is, were you able to write that code or answer my question? If and when, and it's very close, or we are already there. As we make that technology 100% foolproof, I can eliminate and invite like hundreds of thousands of people every week, every month to take this test because it doesn't cost us much. And then we will start bubbling up people who really understand computer science, for example. Same will be true for other divisions also. And then we will be able to eliminate these degrees. And in US is already there. I remember when I joined Microsoft in 92, 93, my manager or my side manager, she had a piano degree. She could not get a job. So what she did was she went to University of Washington in Seattle, took some computer science degree because she was so smart. She came back, became a good computer engineer. So the world is already, we're going there. I think it will come in India also. But we needed some technology. The technology is there already. And I think we can start. First, the other thing that we have done in the last 10 years I've been in India is that we used to go to like 5-10 IITs. Then we expanded to NIT and triple ITs. Now we just open up, like in February, we have an open India-wide test, and we can tell any student can just come and take the test. So in that sense, we have already broken the barrier of, are you in the right college? Now we have to break the barrier of, do you have the right degree? And it's just a matter of time we will get there. Okay, I hope that answers it. Next one.
In the interest of time, we'll take 3 more questions.
Okay.
So Kamal would like to know best mantra for motivation that helped you throughout your journey.
Best motivation.
Best mantra for motivation that helped you throughout your journey.
Good question. It's like a rapid fire question. What helped you? Okay, in the young, as I said, like when I was young, when I joined Microsoft first time, what really helped me is that being little scared on the first day by meeting all these people who are just world-class engineers. And I think, hey, who am I, man? Came from a small village, happened to just went to St. Xavier's, Calcutta, happened to get into Roorkee, happened to get into Austin, Texas, just by chance got into Microsoft. What really motivated me is what Dennis Kennedy told me is look, Rajiv, the way to succeed in life is hard work because everybody is smart here. So that was the beginning. I would not say that is what motivates me now. I think now what motivates me is, and it's also a different phase of life, right, is the purpose. What brought me to India, what keeps me going every day. And people ask me, why don't you just retire, you're done? And it's just a purpose of doing something meaningful for this country. You know, when I came here, it was like 50 people engineer team in India, just trying to do something to hire. Now I feel we are in a role. We are hiring thousands every year, multiple thousands every year. And I feel we will give tens of thousands of engineers in this country to a world-class experience of building product. And then these engineers leave Microsoft, startup. Ola is a Microsoft engineer. I'm so happy for Ola. I wish in the next 10 years, like 100 people or 200 people leave and start 100 Olas for this country. So I just feel very motivated by being in a place to bring in young mind help them become a world-class engineer, and then either continue in Microsoft or leave Microsoft and start something that changes the society, impacts this country, impacts the world. And I think that is the higher purpose that motivates me now, actually. So motivation changes, but I'm just giving you two end of the spectrum, what motivated me in the beginning, what motivates me now.
Thank you, Rajiv. This is one last question we'll take for the IIT Roorkee students.
Yeah.
What are the latest technologies, trends, or products in which students can involve themselves for better career?
Can you repeat that?
What are the latest technologies, trends, or products
Yeah.
in which students can involve themselves for a better career? This is for IIT Roorkee students.
Yeah. No, this is a good question. See, I'll tell you, technologies will change. So it's good to know technology, but more importantly, you need to know the fundamentals. And I, being a computer engineer, I can't talk for like other chemical engineers and or metallurgy or mechanical. You should be good at the fundamental of the business division or that area that you're in. So in computer science, what we test when we do hiring, we don't say, do you know Java or do you know SQL database? No, we go back to writing loops or optimizing memory. So what you have to get good at is the fundamentals of that area, and then use the fundamental to solve the problem. That is problem solving, intellectual horsepower, ability to communicate clearly, being accountable, all the things that we talked about, continuous learning. Those are the things that you should actually involve yourself with. Continue to learn, I think, is the biggest learning I've had in my life. So I would say go do more. If you're a computer engineer asking the question, the straight answer is start writing good code, and not just code, good code, like very tight code, clean code, the best code. That will force you to think differently. That will force you to solve problem in a simple way. Simple is better. Remember that. Whenever you are writing a very complicated piece of code, that means you did not get it right. The most profound solutions are the simplest solution. So work towards that. Go join hacker rank or hacker and get your. Okay. That's my answer.
Thank you, Rajiv. We have last 5 minutes. So any closing thoughts? Like on behalf of IIT Roorkee, on behalf of Achal sir, Vishnukant sir, I take this privilege to thank for your time and for this insights that you have shared with the IIT Roorkee alumni. Due to a certain technical thing, we couldn't get Achal sir and Vishnu sir live. So I'm taking this responsibility from there, and thank you for your time. And we would like to end the session with any of your closing thoughts, Rajiv.
No, thank you. First, I'll say thank you, Achal sir. Thank you, Vishnu Kant. You are so active. I really, I did not realize it would be so successful. There are more than 500, 600 people on the call. Thank you for bringing this community together as a IIT Roorkee Alumni Association. I thank you. I thank all the people who had the patience to listen to my 1 hour of this talk, and I hope you learned something out of it. I'm not trying to preach. But if you can see something that I have been practicing and if you feel it good, please take that, write to me, let me know. Would love to connect with each one of you, and I look forward to reconnecting in the next session. So thank you again for this being virtually together, and I look forward to meeting you all in some day in some physical forum, hopefully by end of this year or next year. So yeah, thank you.
We thank you all. We couldn't answer all the questions that have been published, but we definitely would take Rajiv's time, request Rajiv to respond to all the questions, and we would give it back to the Alumni Association, all your questions with the answers. And also, we did have a certain technical glitches and we might have lost audio in between. So we would share a video recording link for you all to go back and refer to this. And we thank you all for your patience and being cooperative during this session. Thank you once again. Have a good day.
Bye.
Thank you, Rajiv. We are logging off.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.